Hey, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell for future notifications of all other videos. Well, now you got me dancing. Hey, YouTube. Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom Talk. And today is part 2 of what I was speaking about, building a relationship with God, yourself, and others. I forgot to put that in the title of the other one. I think I forgot to say that, period. But anyway, so I want to continue with this sequel. This is the second chapter of that talk. And where we left off last time was where I was stating that I was going to talk about building a relationship with someone else. So before I start that, I just kind of want to recap on it a little bit. So I spoke about you discovering who you are. It was best to, if you could have in the past, focused on yourself and build yourself, not look at others and try to be them, but be yourself. In your teen years, you should have been able to discover that. A lot of us didn't. Some of us did. But in your adulthood, you should have easily realized you shouldn't be trying to live someone else's life. But again, that all stems from you building that relationship with yourself, finding out who you are, what you want out of life, what you can do out of life, knowing that you're never going to be the best in everything, but you can be the best in one thing. Some people might say, oh, that's not important, but that's what you're best at. And that is what makes you best at it and it being important. So getting through all that, if you want to watch more of the video, I'll click it, attach it to the end of this video from last week, and you could hear what I talked about in that video. So again, where I left off was building a relationship between you and someone else. First off, again, this is all based off of my life, off of my experience. I'm just sharing it with you so you could hopefully get something out of it to help you if you're not totally aware of who you are, what you want to do, and all that stuff. That's what this is about. I'm not a psychologist. Disclaimer: I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. Nothing like that. Just like you, just discovering the path of life, reading the Word, and walking or trying to do my best to walk the Word, the Word of God. Let's start. So I, like most people, didn't understand relationships with the opposite sex. I'm a male looking for a female. I knew a little bit about females because I have sisters. And I knew what they were looking for. I knew what they wanted. But to be honest with you, no, I did not. But that's beside the point. Again, I should have been building on me and learning what I wanted, writing out that list of what I wanted, and being able to live and do what I wrote on that list. I didn't. Growing up, being an adult, going to college, trying to find that female partner that I wanted to spend time with and enjoy time with. It was kind of difficult, but I found someone I thought was that person. And again, I thought. Why did I say I thought? Because I didn't have a list of what I wanted in a person. I knew of a look, but I didn't know of a personality. I knew my personality a little bit, but not as much as I know today. I didn't know my body, nor did I know my mind as much as I know today. You might be asking, what does knowing your body and mind have to do with anything? A lot. A lot. I knew my capabilities athletically and other things, but I didn't know how my body would react with somebody that I was attracted to, really attracted to. I didn't know how my mind would be if I found somebody who I was attracted to. Many of you understand what I mean by that, and many of you might be saying, what the heck are you talking about, Rico? One, will your brain turn to mush because you see somebody that you want to lie with, sleep with, have sexual adventures with. Do you truly know how your body would react in that case? And what I mean by that is you can have slept with several people, or you could have never slept with people. No matter how it goes, each person is different when you lie with them, when you have sexual adventures with them, and your body reacts differently. Some you enjoy it, some you don't. Some you can lose your mind over, some you don't. And these are the things that I'm talking about. I did mention in my last video, you got to control your emotions. So your emotions that you need to be controlling would be in your mind when it comes to that aspect of it, as well as communication with that person. You got to be able to communicate well with that person. If you can't communicate with yourself, how are you going to communicate well with someone else? And yes, there's people out there that can't even talk to themselves without getting angry. So you got to learn how to communicate well. Not, again, just with yourself, but with someone else. And to control your emotions. I tell my children that all the time. When something aggravates them, they start crying or whatever it may be. It's okay to cry, but you got to control the emotions. Because if you let those emotions go, who knows what trouble you could get into. And that's what I'm talking about. So I found this individual. Physically, with seeing them, I thought they were attractive. But what hooked me was that communication. It seemed like we were on the same level. It seemed like we wanted the same things. In theory. Because I didn't know everything that I wanted. I just knew that one day I wanted to get married and have kids. There's more than that. But that's all what I knew at that time. So I get with this person, and because of the lack of understanding of myself and the lack of understanding of their selves, meaning they didn't know who they were trying to get out of the situation that they were in. And I was just happy that I found somebody that I could talk to and I felt comfortable with. What messed me up again was emotions. I wasn't in control of my emotions, meaning mentally. There was an ultimatum that was given to me, which, again, if I was in control of my emotions, I would have stopped the relationship that day. I didn't. I gave into my emotions and I moved forward with because of the ultimatum. Against my better judgment. So the relationship kept going on. And because I felt uncomfortable living with this person without being married, I proposed and we ended up getting married. Long story short, I wasn't ready. They weren't ready. We got divorced because of it. It was like the weirdest short roller coaster I was ever on. I don't like roller coasters. So if that gives you an idea, I do not like roller coasters. Were there some good times? There were some. But again, I don't like roller coasters. So we get divorced. We had a child out of it. And of course, it messed that child's life up, which I regret. But the good part out of it was no more children were brought into my life at that point. I got out of a bad situation. And at that point was a turning point in my life to get to know who I was. Who is Enrico? Who and what makes Enrico tick? And how can I control the emotions that I was going through while I was in that roller coaster ride? I turned to the Lord. I just dove straight into Bible study to find out what life's about. Yes, I did get all my answers. And an answer, most important answer I was looking for was that I committed sin by divorce. And because, I'm not going to get into that. But if you want to know a little bit more, I could point out a passage to explain why I felt comfortable with what happened with the divorce. Anyway, it allowed me to sit down and realize, what do I want out of life? What do I want out of a partner if I get in a situation like this again? So as I was doing my Bible study, a lot of reflecting, I living alone, which was the best thing that I could do. And I learned to live with myself. I knew I could live with myself, but I really, really realized I could live with myself. I could be on my own. I didn't need anybody there. Boring, no one to talk to, but I could do it. And I was thinking, maybe I'll buy a dog. Maybe I'll get a dog. Me and my dog. That's what I was thinking. So after years went by, I had my list, and I run across this incredible, incredible woman. Yes, the woman that I'm married to today. And it's smooth sailing. I like sailing. Sailing takes me away to where I'm going. I love it. It's fun and exciting and adventurous. It has its troubles at some time, a little tribble and little rocky waves and stuff, but I don't get sick. How did I come about meeting, or not meeting, how did I come about building a relationship with this person? It was because of my list. So as I was dating, before I met my wife, I dated, listened to a buddy of mine about dating a lot of women. Never do that again. I wouldn't recommend anybody doing that. Oh, that was annoying. It was a pain. But it got me to understand a lot about women. So I dated, learned a lot. And in my list that I wrote, I started noticing that none of the women were matching what I wanted. Now, mind you, I only had really, I think it was like 8 items on that list. I could have had a longer list, but I thought it was important things. Those 8 things were very important. And I'll give you the first 3. They must love God. They must love God. They have to love a higher power. They have to love God. That was my number one thing. Second, they have to love themselves. And they have to hold themselves accountable for the things that they do. That was 2. And then the third thing was, I'm not going to tell you. No, I will. The third thing is, after they loved themselves, they had to love family. That was another very, very important thing. God, themselves, and family. And as of today, I still tell my kids that these are the most important things out of life. You've got to have at least these. These 3 are the must be your top 3 priorities of life, and it's in the Bible. And that's what I was looking for. And you'd be surprised. Majority of the women, yeah, they say, "Oh, I love God. Oh, I love family." But a lot of them, the majority of them really didn't love themselves. They had issues. And then the ones that did love themselves and did love God, it seemed like they were disconnected from family. I mean, it was like either you always got the 2 out of the 3. Either they love God and themselves, or they love themselves and family, or I mean, some of them just love themselves sometimes. It was just weird. It was really weird. Or they love God and family. It was weird. But when I met my wife, she knocked those 3 out of the box. And then she hit the other items on my list. I had to create more things. To be honest with you, I really did. And she hit it out of the box. I wanted to, again, I don't want these to be long. I just want this to be informative. So that's what I say when you're trying to build a relationship with someone. Make sure that you know yourself, you love yourself, and that you love a family. That you would, I mean, if you're going to bring somebody in your life, you're going to be building a family with them. If it's just you and them or you and kids, you're going to be building a family. So you got to love family life. And then make sure that that person has the same 3 top priorities and whatever else is on that list that you create for yourself. So create that list. But first off, when you create that list, it better be what you can do. Don't expect somebody to do something that you cannot do. Again, I'll point to the passage in the Bible. How can you remove sawdust from someone else's eye when you have a wooden beam in yours? Remember that. So you write this list out. Make sure these are the things you can do and you could give to someone else. You could share with someone else. So I will make one more video about relationships and stuff. And that's how, once you get into it, how to keep it solid through my eyes, through my personal experience. So with that, I'll leave it right here for part 2. So click over here if you would like to see the video I may have mentioned in this video. Click here for any video that I think that you might be interested in watching. And click right here to subscribe. I hope you do. And with that, till our next video, see ya.